today we're off to another Welsh food producer, Snowdonia Wagyu, who's local to us, but they were also keen to have bees. This year it's a new site for us. We're just stocking it up with bees. It's an interesting site. It has its own steam train, and obviously the Wagyu beef is quite unusual in North Wales too. Sioned.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Let's do it the formal way.
Fancy a cuppa for yourself?
Excellent. Oh, love one. Yeah, love one.
Let's go to the house. This is the wildflower and grass mix.
Oh, fantastic.
So we've planted this one now just to see how it works, and hopefully it'll come out, and then we can do a little bit here as well.
It's dry though, isn't it? Dry at the minute.
It is dry. It needs a little tiny bit of rain.
Yeah.
Wouldn't go amiss.
Make everything bolt up again, shoot up.
True.
Oh, I love this spot. With a panad.
Nice and sunny with a panad in the morning as well, yeah. So how's business for you? I thought you might want to do the food festival at some point in time, or? Yeah, the food festival is just a step too far for us at the minute. We are so busy. We're running into this great weather has meant we're just flat out, and maybe next year. There's always next year, but we just couldn't handle it this year. Like with yourself, when we do something, we want to do it well, and it's a great opportunity. But it would have spoiled other things that we wanted to do that weekend. So I'm intrigued by this Wagyu rum. Why did you start doing it, and what does it taste like? It is a bit of a weird one, isn't it? It's a strange one. So there's always some bits that don't sell, so some cuts that don't go as quickly, or don't go like shin and things, and sort of slow cook joints in summer is something that we're always trying to do things with. So that's kind of where the rums come about. But it's just a nice sort of savoury flavour rum. But no, it went down really well. Yeah. Yeah.
It's unusual, isn't it?
It is very unusual. I think we're the only ones that do it so far.
Oh, fantastic.
But yeah, it'd be good. But I mean, there's honey rums and stuff about
there
it,
is, yeah. Mead and
you never know. We never know.
Maybe one day.
But it's nice to have something that's local.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's about the flavours and stuff like that in it, and it just makes it different.
Yeah. And why did you want to have bees here? What's the advantage to you on your farm?
So we've been thinking about having bees for a while. We went and did a little taster course, which is a really good thing to do. It's an eye opener. There is so much that we don't know. There's so much to learn, and we haven't got the time as much as we'd like to. We haven't got the time, and there's that fear of getting something wrong as well. Yeah. So when we met, it was just great to ask you, right, do you want to bring some hives and things? It was fantastic. So for us, it's more about the biodiversity of the farm. So if the bees are happy, we know that we're doing something right, that the farm's balanced, so to speak, and that it's doing well. So has the honey sort of started a bit earlier this year because we've had such nice weather, and we've had actually wet weather as well? So has the seasons for the honey changed a little bit? Has it started earlier, finishing later, or?
Oh, very much so, much earlier. I mean, this time last year, which was a particularly cold year, we were only just thinking about opening the hives up now, and the amount of honey that's been brought in, even in the really small hives, it's causing a little bit of an issue, that we need to move them on into bigger hives, which I did. We're going to be doing today here, just to build the numbers up. But it's unheard of, really. The people who've been beekeeping for, not me, but beekeeping for 50, 60 years, have said this is the best year they can remember.
So they're producing more in a shorter space of time, is that right?
Yeah. This could be our summer, and that happens a lot in North Wales. Yeah, sure. But also everything comes out, so there's always that June, what they call the June gap, where it's the difference between the spring flowers and then when you get to the back end of the year, things like bramble and the sort of autumny type of flower. There's always a gap in the middle, so we've just got to be careful that if we do extract honey from the hives, which we will, we leave them enough, and so we don't, they don't starve.
So it's very much a little bit like us. You've always got one eye on the weather to see what's happening and what's doing. Yeah. So do you I know you don't really top them up, do you? So in the June gap, would you top them up? You've just got to sort of
definitely
manage.
Not. No, they'll have enough stores. It's how much you take from them, and sometimes, very often, we don't. In North Wales, we don't get a spring harvest. It's just once a year. So spring is very this spring is very unusual, that we will have a spring harvest, but as I say, just make sure that we leave them enough for those few weeks and then they move. It's hard to believe that, you know, we've got that and we haven't even had what we consider to be the honey yet. So yeah. It's a bumper year so far.
So do you extract from every single apiary on their own, or do you blend it? So say if I wanted some of the honey from here, just from here, is that a possibility? Is that something that you do? We do
extract per apiary, so they have different characteristics as well. For obvious reasons, you know, we'll go a bit farther down the coast towards Lintlevon, and it's a triple SI, it's a grade 1 listed garden, so there's all kinds of wonderful things in there. And then some farther on the coast that we go towards the A55, different plants again, you know. I have another customer who wants it from where they are, and we're able to do that. We're not a mass-produced product like yourselves, and that's what people are buying into. It's that artisan, it's a crafting of a product. Yeah. So we want to be able to, you know, to nail down where that came from. Well, I've come to the end of my panad, so really good to catch up with you. Yeah, we better go and do some work now.
Yeah, me too, to be honest.
Oh, diolch yn fawr.
Croeso.
We're on an organic farm here, a beautiful part of North Wales that produces Wagyu beef and also Wagyu rum. It's quite an unusual product, but one that seems to be selling really well from what the owner tells me. So we've moved in hives here. They're very keen, as are most farmers, to have hives on their property. It helps with biodiversity and pollination. And so we moved these in March, and they're doing really well. It's a great season for them to start off with. We'll probably put about a dozen hives here in total when they're fully stocked. But as you can tell from my veil, there is one hive that appears to be a little more aggressive than our usual hives, and one that we're probably not going to tolerate. So I'll identify that hive, maybe on this visit, maybe on another visit, but we'll probably look to requeen that because it just doesn't make life fun, and everybody wants to see my face apparently, so that's another reason. We stocked this site up, which is a former yurt site. They used to have camping here, so it's nicely fenced off from the livestock, keeps them separate. But we put in 12 hives, which is a good number for North Wales. Putting in any more bees here would tend to cause a bit of stress. Yes, we'd get a little bit more honey from them, but it's a sort of a decreasing asset then. 12 is a good number. Because of the unusual start that we've had to the season, even though these were nukes and they've only been here a matter of weeks, they've started to produce honey, and they've started to produce it in significant quantities. So you'll see different rates from different hives. Some are just on the beginning of that journey, but others are very much into that journey of producing lots of honey, with 3 of those honey collecting boxes, the supers that we put on top. So we want to do this manipulation now so that the swarming gets taken off the agenda as far as that hive is concerned, but also we're going to take full advantage of this nectar flow and produce lots and lots of honey from this site, which is a real bonus. Normally we wouldn't get, maybe a little bit, but wouldn't generally expect to get much from a new site, not in the first season, but it's unusual times. This manipulation, which is called the demarré method of swarm control but also honey production, is very light on kit as well, so it's something that beginner beekeepers will have readily available. So all we need is a queen excluder and a new hive body. That all is in this hive body are frames with brand new foundation. And our plan is to go into this hive. As you can see, it's doing particularly well, this hive, compared with everything else. So we need to go into the bottom brood box. We do need to identify the queen, and we'll put her into this brand new brood box. Replace that one on the bottom, and then put this older one on the top. So we've separated, as is exactly what happens with a swarm, is we've separated the younger brood and eggs from the old flying bees and the queen who are going to remain in the bottom. So when we've done this manipulation, we'll come back in about 4 or 5 days
This box, because they've been separated from the queen, will have raised queen cells. We're going to destroy those. And then as this brood, the young bees, emerge in the top box, they'll use that space to fill it up with honey. And they'll do it at quite a remarkable rate. Our very, very obviously fertile and productive queen, who's in the bottom at the minute, all she will have is one frame of bees and brood, but the rest of it will be just wax foundation. So she'll go into automatic sort of egg-laying overload and fill that box up as fast as she can, thinking all the time that maybe they've swarmed because all that's left in that box are older bees and the queen. The population will grow, these bees will hatch out, and they'll just form a massive colony and store honey up in these top boxes. That's the practice. We'll have to see what happens, but we will come back to this one. But it's just a nice way of stopping swarming, but also increasing honey production as well. And you can do it proactively, even before your bees are thinking about swarming. But from the look of this and how well they've built up from what was a relatively small nuke, this is going to be a prime swarm candidate if we do nothing. Our first job is to obviously take the hive down to its brood box and then go through frame by frame and try and find the queen. When we do, we'll put it in this new brood box, put it all back together again, and let nature take its course. I'll come back in 5 days, smash any queen cells that are there. That's not our objective to queen rear in this setup. And that's just so that they won't have eggs or larvae of a sufficient age after 5 or 6 days to produce another queen. We will check again, but do that on our regular weekly inspection. So this was established, this nuke came here on the 8th of April. So you can see in a little over a month, we've got to this stage with 3 supers, and I'm imagining a very prolific colony in the bottom box. So we'll just have to take it apart. The last inspection was done on the 10th of May. We didn't find the queen on that inspection, but you can see from the amount of bees that are in here, working up in the top super, there's going to be a lot of honey existing in here, even though it's a relatively early part of the season. I'll just use a little bit of smoke to drive them down. I can leave this top on. We don't want to disturb them too much. But that is full, so put that on there. So they are working up into the second super. Let's take a look at. I see they've almost filled up. They've repaired the comb and are filling it up with nectar, soon to be honey. You can see the white wax is where they've repaired the comb and just starting to cover that up with cappings of their own. Another few days this will be completely capped. I'll split this one off and see what's underneath. So that's, I don't know, 60–70% full. That's on its way to being filled. And again, a third super. This might be our candidate actually for grumpy bees, because they're doing really well, but at the same time there's the odd frame which they haven't touched yet, drawn out a little bit. So what I might do is just move some of those around, put those to the outside. But as you can see, another frame that they're just about capping. They put some pollen in here, which we don't really want them to do, but I'm guessing the hive is quite full underneath. They're just grumpy. So when you consider this was a nucleus colony, not sort of 5 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago, this shows the sort of season we're having. So we'll draw some of those bees down and take a look. We want to not use too much smoke, because trying to find the queen, we don't want to drag her too far down. That is an incredible amount of bees that's come on from a 6-frame nucleus 5 weeks ago. So they're doing some things right, but some things wrong. So just what I'm going to do now is put our new queen excluder just on top of the hive, because if we put the queen in here, we don't want it to go down into the super. We'll take our one frame out of there to make space for it. So this one I think is definitely a candidate for requeening, even though she's doing so well. I don't like this behaviour. So that we'll deal with that another day. So what we're looking for is the queen. And again, in this frame here, they're packing away pollen and honey, just showing the fertility really of this hive. So we'll put that. The queen isn't on that one. We'll put her to one side. She should be marked green. I'm hoping she's marked green because she'll be so much easier to spot. But lots of eggs and larvae on this frame. And that's all the way out to the edge. And look at that. I mean, it's virtually a full frame of capped brood. Same on this side. No signs of swarming, but these would definitely be a candidate for swarming in another week or two. They really don't like it. And again, another perfectly laid out frame of capped brood. It's like we turn the volume up, but if you've been following the channel and you've seen our other bees, this is not typical. But sometimes we can't control who they've bred with. So the aggression gene comes unsurprisingly from the male side. And these are totally not the bees we normally produce. But we have a solution for that. So this again, no queen in sight, but lots and lots and lots of brood. Well, you can tell by how far Paul is away now, the camera angle, that he's quite wisely retreated. These are a rogue hive, definitely a rogue hive. They've grown up massively, but I'm really unhappy with although they're producing a lot of honey, I'm really unhappy with the behaviour of these, so we've got to find and dispatch the queen. We said at the beginning we would show you the life of a beekeeper, warts and all, and this is definitely not something that I expected to find or want to find. Great that they're producing lots of honey, but they're just going to be unworkable, these bees. Because the queen is the mother of all the bees, the only way to deal with this is to dispatch her, and then over a period of maybe 6 weeks, they will, after requeening, they will take on the genetics of, hopefully, fingers crossed, a milder, more typical queen. Nothing really for it other than to put all this back together. They'll carry on bringing in nectar, but this is unacceptable for a bee farm, so we're going to do that now. Get in the van and lick our wounds for a bit and off we go, but there'll always be tomorrow. There's that classic smell of pear drops, which is the attack pheromone. We're not actually getting stung. It's weird. So they're really not trying to sting us, just mob us. I'm sure they would try, they'd love to sting us, but it's not the behaviour. It's odd, it's very odd. But the best thing for this one is to put the lid on and put skull and crossbones on it. I know exactly what that means. We're done. Yeah, we had a bit of an epic day yesterday. We had to run away from those bees. They were way too aggressive, and as beekeepers we've got a duty really to look after them, but also make sure that we look after the people who live round them and come into the close proximity. They'll have to move out from that site, it's too close to where the people live. So close them up, move them on, requeen them, and then, you know, no more mishaps. But they definitely gave us a good kicking over, and I've never seen a hive like that before. They were very aggressive, and it does happen because when we breed queens, we only breed for half the genetic side. The other half is when they go out and mate with the local drone population, and that's the bit we can't control. So it does happen, but as I say, as responsible beekeepers, we have to have an eye to other people we come in contact with. Similar with swarming as well. It's very easy to say, well, we'll just let the bees swarm, but they'll end up in somebody's chimney or causing somebody else a problem. So it's all part of that really. We try and do our best at all times. So I went back, shot it on a phone just to take you along with us, and you can see the results of that. They again weren't happy. Went through the other hives just to make sure, 100% sure it was that hive, and here's some of that footage now. We're already being not quite mobbed by bees, but there's bees around, and we're going over there to sort them out. So as we've said many times on this channel, beekeeping is all about problem solving. This is a problem that I've seen I think once before. It's not something that you can deal with immediately, but just a little bit of thought will hopefully dig us out of this. It's a really good site. I want to maintain our other hives here. I've just been through all those hives. They are fine, it's nothing to do with them. It would be really bad if I picked the wrong hive, but this is definitely the aggressive hive. And as you can see, just without really disturbing the brood nest, how there's just the amount of bees, and they're just coming out. You see, as soon as you put anything black in front of them, they just want to attack. Anyway, the days are numbered. We'll get a nice passive hive. It's the name of the game sometimes with beekeeping. And now back to some more professionally shot video with proper sound. As you can see from the footage, they were still very aggressive, still coming to look for me, which is definitely not a trait we want. Occasionally you'll get stung, but it's more out of an accident where you maybe trap a bee, but these were actively coming looking for me. When bees are like that, it's not fun for anybody, beekeepers or people who are passing by. You never look forward to looking in a hive like that, so we'll requeen them and then move on from there. It's the end of a working day and we're back at one of our other apiaries. You can see from the size of the hives that bees are doing really well with this weather, but I'm just on my way back to the problem hive because all the bees will be home at this time just as the light's going down, and then we can lock them in, retrit strap them up, and then move them off site to another site I've got which is well away from anybody at all. No farms, no people, no habitation. Requeen them there, get on with it. Within about 6 weeks they'll, fingers crossed, be back to a normal, productive but nice to deal with hive.